Sorry, I'm watching Schindler's List review.
Oh, he's hilarious.
Midnight screenings. Sorry, let me just turn that off. Sorry. I need to turn that on. Let's see. That should help. Midnight screenings. Brad and Mrs. Brad, I believe. Just prop that up like that. Okay, there. Now you can see, well, at least my face better. But yeah, so I get terrible. I could put you, but then you won't get as good enough background. I don't want to show the giant pile of stuff I have here that's stacked. These are all my boxes. If you've seen my reviews about my room, so I need a decent lamp, but whatever. Point is, this is a review about not one, not two, not three. No, wait, it is three. Three movies I saw the other day. I saw on Wednesday after work with no sleep. So basically, by the time I went to the movies, I'd been up for about 18 hours. Yeah, because I was up since 4 or 5 the previous afternoon. Didn't get back to home until around 6 or 7. Didn't sleep, and then I left around 11. And then I stayed until 6 o'clock p.m. Yeah. So, the movies I saw were Wreck-It Ralph, Creed 2, Bohemian Rhapsody, and Creed 2. Now, Wreck-It Ralph. Is it as good as I thought it was from the trailer? Yes. Was it just as Me Too preachy as it was? Yes. Were a lot of the jokes necessary? Some of them were. Were the Me Too jokes shoehorned in needlessly and out of context and contrary to the first film? Yes. Let me explain. Now, I've already explained how the Me Too stuff was shoehorned in to The Incredibles 2. Now, they also did the same thing to Wreck-It Ralph 2 and Lego Movie 2. By saying, oh man, because like in the scene with the princesses, they said, well, to qualify as a princess, do people expect that all their problems will be solved by a big strong guy? And they're like, oh yeah, it's like, oh, this stuff is like, well, no, she doesn't qualify for that at all, because one, Wreck-It Ralph, much like Emmett from the Lego Movie, didn't come in saying, I'm clearly going to save you. That wasn't his intent walking into the situation. His intent was, oh, crap, well, to save the situation right now, it looks like my only option is to sacrifice myself to help save the day. That seems very selfless, if you ask me. It doesn't seem like this overly bravo, I hate when I miss words, overly manly thing to do, this pompous, egocentric thing. This had nothing to do with ego. But yet, in the sequels, it's all like, oh, well, men are stupid and stuff, and it feels like, why? You're promoting this in the two stories where lead characters were guys, pulled a self-sacrifice move to save the day. And then you're coming back saying, yeah, but men are idiots and stupid and chauvinistic. He says women are the smarter and superior beings. It's like, why do that? So anyway, yes. So did that running gag a little bit? Was that stupid? Yes. Did everything else work? Yes, friend dependency is, yes, that is a thing. It is damaging, and yes, people often do not realize that it is damaging, that it is unhealthy to be constantly dependent on one. Which, like, concept of like a mama's boy, or somebody who refuses to leave home, or someone who's more of a follower than a leader, you know. Dependability on someone else to be there or to lead the way, you know. No, I'm not going to go into a rant about myself. No, no, I did that last time. No, no, no. I'm not going to do that here. Talk about myself. Anyway, uh, so was it a good sequel? Yes. Did well. Okay, one thing that did kind of like make me head scratch was the fact when Penelope and Wreck-It were going to eBay instead of Amazon for whatever reason. Um, and they were buying the last steering wheel of her game console, apparently on the planet Earth. And they say, "Well, we don't know what this stuff is." It's like, okay, okay, stop, 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 stop. I know you're a little bit pressed for time, but still, you're capable of stopping for a conversation. Much like in Farscape, when the lead crew came to Earth and suddenly they act like, well, clearly we're aliens because we don't know how Earth works. And it's like, you've been on multiple planets, on many, many systems that haven't really had alien contact. And yet, you still act like, well, intelligent beings. But then when they get to Earth, they gotta, kind of force the fact that they're clearly aliens. They don't know how Earth works. It's like, how many societies have you been to or know, and how fast were you able to adapt to their societies, how things work, how a toilet works? And it's like, seriously, you're that you suddenly come off as incredibly stupid. It's like you couldn't figure it out or bother to ask someone. You know, it just seemed out of place that uh, Jana just doesn't know what a toilet is or what it looks like or what it's for. Like she wouldn't ask someone. Just seems kind of stupid. Um, so when Ralph and Penelope get to Amazon, they think, well, I think how this works is you keep shouting out numbers. And whoever gets the highest number gets to win this thing, not knowing that the money something you need to have. You know, I know they're not very intelligent, but they seem to grasp everything else that comes after this. So it's like you're stupid now because you need to be stupid in order for this to work. And it's like, but so when they get to the auctioning bay and start shouting out higher and higher numbers, they go up from 1,000 to 27,000, win the bid against one guy, and then against each other. And then when they go to walk out, they realize, oh, that's money. It's like, yeah, it just kind of comes off as forced plot point stupid in order to get themselves into a big enough pickle. Because then when they start getting the hearts, they wouldn't be there that hard. They wouldn't need to try that hard. They got 27 out of just 1,000. So basically, they kept not just shooting themselves in the foot. They kept repeatedly shooting themselves in the foot, both feet, in arms, and in the head. Is what it feels like. You know, because it's like, look, when you leave your game and go to another game, you kind of would ask what the heck this is about. So when you know enough that when you leave and go somewhere new, you stop and ask what the heck's going on, how it works. As incredibly basic as games are. So they couldn't stop for 5 seconds and just ask someone, how does this work? And I know they have personalities of children, but still, experience and knowledge would have told them otherwise to just ask someone. So that gave them more incentive to do more things in order to earn more money, or earn more hearts than to earn more money, and go on. And I honestly thought Ralph would have a thing for the algorithm that runs VTube or whatever, and and the scene with Ralph finding the comment section was needless because it didn't add to his character development or the story, really. You cut that out, it wouldn't matter. It's just another lol point that seems needless because the real law point will come in a little bit when Penelope chooses to wants to stay behind, and Ralph gets stupid and says, well, we'll just make it boring for her. Make the game boring for her so she'll leave and go back to Sugar Rush. Yeah. I understand Ralph is upset, but honestly, it comes off as a douchey move. If she's happy, leave her alone. But then we have to go through this whole story arc, and it feels kind of forced that Ralph is that stupid. And it's like, oh, come on. And I'm surprised he didn't have to pay for the virus. I'm just kind of weird. It's like, really? He just gives it to him? Anyway, so... but overall, more of it was good than it was bad. It was pretty good. It was pretty cute. It was a nice little adventure into a good representation of the internet. But yeah, it was a good. It was a good ride. It was nice. You know, it had its cathartic moment at the end. Because we got to do things the hard, emotional way. Whatever. So it was basically what I thought it was going to be. All right, moving on. The Bohemian Rhapsody. Now that was fun. Was it everything I... This is what happens. Oh, excuse me. Hello?
Hello, we have exciting news. Through new standards, you are now entitled to receive medical grade braces at no charge. That's correct. If you are suffering from chronic pain, press 1 now to get additional information on how to get your medical brace delivered to your house. If you would like to be placed on the do not call list, press 9 now.
Automated telemarketers. Anyway, was it everything I thought it was from the trailer? Yes. Was it emotionally gripping and you had a lot of heart, it had a lot of story? Did it feel like you knew the guy? Yes, 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 and yes. It's all yes. It's all good. It's all above board. Wasn't mediocre. Wasn't boring. They did kind of skim through. It's like the entire catalog of his song career, and they even played like each one at that time did come out. So it's like they hear it in the soundtrack in each song that they were singing. I particularly love the scene where he said they spent a whole scene dedicated to the fact that this guy, this promoter, has no faith in Bohemian Rhapsody, and Queen says, this is our best work. If you don't believe that, we're leaving. And he says, you will forever you forever be the man who missed out on Bohemian Rhapsody. And So they went and promoted it themselves, and they went to a radio station that is not, bound by the man, because Bohemian Rhapsody was so long. It's 6 minutes. And he says it has to be more like 3 minutes, and they are not going to cut this down. And they put so much hard work into this, and so they went to a guy who's basically a bit more of a radio independent, a bit, but still pretty big. And he says, "Play this thing," because I was like, "All right, let's put this on." It's like, why would we doubt you? You're queen. You've established yourself as being good. So it's a 6 minute song. So what? So he puts it on, and it just exploded from there. And and then at the end, they show one scene during the World Aid thing, live Aid thing, a shot of him at his desk, just looking just defeated, because he says, "You will forever be known as the guy who passed up on Bohemian Rhapsody," and it's playing on the television and all that. And at that point, I just laughed in the theater, just out loud, just laughed, because that was a good visual joke. Anyway, but so each little song that they do chronologically throughout the part that they play, or have in the background being played, or as the soundtrack being played, they kind of felt like they had to squeeze it in there. So when it vaguely thematically had that moment, they would play, like the moment when he realized he was dying and was sick. They had a brief little couple of lines of "Who Wanted to Live Forever." I kind of wanted that to go on for 40 seconds until the part in the hallway happened, but I guess they wanted it that kind of more silent in order to have that whistling part. But I'm just saying that it kind of feels more like they're trying to squeeze that in a little bit more. His entire, more, or at least as much of his catalog chronologically in the movie as much as possible, which I find that would be rather difficult. But it doesn't subtract from it. But it's just something I noticed. So it's not a brief or whatever. It's just something I noticed. Anyway, no, I had no problems with him. Where the story goes. Him being at times, him being insecure, him being alone, because the lead character has to have that lull part before the darkest before the light. It felt natural. It felt like this is what befalls, not rich people, but popular people, celebrities, people who are liked by millions. Someone's going to try to manipulate their environment to isolate them if they don't do that naturally on their own. But yeah, have him be isolated felt natural. It felt like that's where everything was going. And I falling asleep here a little bit. So him coming back for Live Aid it was really good. They played their whole 20. It felt like you were there for a whole 20 minutes listening to this stage performance. The ending shot where they took their bow before leaving and they showed the audience, them in front of the audience, it did look a little, not blue screened, but plate matte-y, where it had like the entire audience and the whole stadium looked a little, like the contrast or brightness was too good, was too much, so it had like a like um like a like a cloudy effect on it. But it's like, I don't know, it's pretty big, it's a bit overcast, so it was in blue skies, so it's like, who knows if that was how it looked originally. So it's like, I kind of just let that go. Um, ba, 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 ba. That was basically it. That was a really good. What's the term? Tour de force. It was a good journey, is what it was. I liked it. Uh, yeah, so it was a good journey, and I liked it better than, Wreck-It Ralph, because Wreck-It Ralph has some stupid modern jokes in it. But Bohemian Rhapsody was good. Yeah, it was good. Um, all right, Creed 2. I got like 10 minutes left here. Yeah, 10 minutes. Okay. Um, Creed 2. Uh, it was just awesome. Yes, it was. It was an earned movie. Um, it was a. It was like, well, it was like when, like they were comparing it to the previous Rocky films. Yes, it was a guy goes into the scene, gets defeated, on honor of the clan type stuff, prove himself, gets defeated, comes back, and and basically avenges his father. And yeah, it even shows the quote unquote antagonists, shows them that they are human. The the guy, the son of Ivan Drago, he barely says anything in the movie. I kept thinking like he's saving his lines for the ring before he would actually speak. He honestly doesn't. The first words he says is "I know, Dad" or something. You know, the dad's the one that's saying you must break him. And all this other stuff. So the dad does more of the talking, like twice or more talking in the movie than the son ever does, and it's a little bit kind of odd because I thought the son would say quote the same thing to Adonis that Ivan did to Apollo, but apparently he doesn't. And so, but that's still, it was still a darn good film. You feel for everybody. Everyone has the feels. Everyone is human, and everything feels earned. And I don't know much else to say other than praise it. It's good. It has good cinematography. Uh, it has normal human stupidity. Based on the feels more than Wreck-It Ralph. Wreck-It Ralph was a child, throwing a tantrum, thinking if I can manipulate my my world, you know, if I can if I can get this to work, then I'll be happy again. You know, I've achieved my goal. You know, but Ralph is not a very intelligent being. Adonis Creed is actually a human being. He's not a cartoon character. He's an actual character. He has hopes and dreams and ambitions and the concept of what is stupid. He tried to go on with what he had and it didn't work. That's why he failed. So he regrouped, got back what he needed to succeed, and then succeeded. I particularly liked the part where the ref was asking him what his name was. I thought that was a very empowering moment. But I honestly thought it should have been like he was hallucinating that he saw Apollo there holding his hands, helping him up, yelling at him, "What is his name?" I honestly thought for a moment that that's what that was going to be, but it was just the ref, and it's like, I thought that would have been the perfect spot to put in the ghost of Apollo Creed, helping his boy get up. But yeah, that was one of the better um, emotional journey rides. Much like Bohemian Rhapsody before, it was a good emotional ride. where everything felt well earned. Him being stupid seemed a bit more justified. He didn't say, well, why is he doing that? It's like, well, same reason as the first one. He has to prove himself. This is, you know, this is the part of his being that's been irked this entire time, you know. And it has to be resolved. You know, he has to face the same challenge his father did. But the fact that he came out and lived during his first bout with the kid, um, shows that he is, well, mostly by a technicality, he still retained the title, but um, him being, you know, him, Adonis being kind of stupid taking this guy on without the teachings of Rocky is kind of understandable. He's a bit emotional, much like his father before him. I have to do this, with or without you, and it's like, I honestly would have holed out for Rocky to get on board with this and train properly, because I knew I wouldn't have be able to train without him. So, yeah. But, again, it's understandable because it's such a deep emotional hurt. You know, they call it the big red button for a reason. The don't push button. We all have them. Anyway. So, were all three of these films good? Yes. Okay, was Wreck-It Ralph 2 better than Wreck-It Ralph 1? Only visually, not necessarily story-wise. Without the Ralph's epic stupidity, well, it does show a codependence because that's like literally his first friend he made. So being codependent on her is expected, but him to go this far is kind of stupid. Of course, granted, they're not exactly supposed to be very intelligent beings. Remember, these are 2D arcade game characters, so, you know. But was Wreck-It Ralph 2 better than Wreck-It Ralph 1? Visually, yes. Narratively, maybe a little bit. But it was still an okay ride. It was still a decent ride. Bohemian Rhapsody, as uh, documentaries go, was still a good ride. It was a. It's like listening. It's like going on a car ride with the radio blasting, listening to the best of Queen. Basically, is what it was like. Creed 2 was a good solid film, yeah. So they all were good. They all were good. All right, I'm about out of time here, so I'll just get back to my viewing. No YouTube Platinum. I do not wish to keep playing when you close the app. No, I don't want to do that. No thanks.
And it felt, it didn't feel out of place in the movie. There's a lot of
Schindler's List.
funny lines they have to really show this arcing friendship between Ben Kingsley and Liam Neeson. How it starts out, and Ben Kingsley's it doesn't really want to say gratitude or anything like that, to by the end of it they toast and he finally does drink at the end. There's some good lines that they have.
Yeah, totally.
Watching Liam Neeson manipulate Ralph Fiennes through this movie,
Yeah, that's what I meant.
as well.
Yeah.
Their back and forth, how he kind of has to be buddy and act like friends with this guy, because what this movie shows that it does, it among other things incredibly well, is to show these two guys, Oscar Schindler and Gert, Ray Fiennes, who are two guys who are powerful, but use them for wildly different means. They both know that they're very, very powerful, but whereas Liam Neeson in this movie is using his strengths and skills as a businessman and a negotiator and a manipulator too. His charm, his charisma, we see how he is with various women in the movie.
Yeah.
He uses that to his strength to save 1,100 people.